Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 11 o'clock on Thursday, April 7th, 2022. My name is Peter Johnson. I've been an investment advisor for 32 years and counting, and it's my pleasure and my honor to be here today. I'm very excited because we have a very special guest by the name of Kathryn Ericksen, who was introduced to me by a mutual friend that I have a lot of respect for. And Kathryn's like so accomplished and has such an important message for everybody, really, but we're going to focus on women today. The title of this little workshop or webinar is Women and Wealth, Transforming Scarcity Thinking into Empowered Wealth Consciousness. So today we're going to be talking about an area that's critically important and woefully underaddressed, namely women and wealth. And in particular, we're going to look at the relationship women have with money. That relationship acts as a vessel or a container that shapes and feeds what is created in our lives. It's the often unexamined foundation that basically determines how high we can build. I also want to acknowledge that I'm an older white male. I don't know how that happened, but it just did. I really, truly welcome diverse voices. It's so good to hear from all of you that offer that diversity of view. And it's one of the reasons I'm so excited to have Kathryn join us today. It's truly a privilege for me. I'm not going to direct too much or participate too much. I want to listen. So I appreciate Kathryn's support in leading this as she sees fit, because I have a lot of ideas, but I don't want to at all dominate. So Kathryn, welcome, and you've got the floor.
Oh, Peter, thank you so much. And hello, everyone. So nice to meet you. I kind of fell into this work. My background is an attorney. I was in litigation for many years until one day I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. And that's when I said, you know what, it's time for a change. It's time for a transition. And I began writing and fell in love with that, the whole creative process. But there was still something missing. And that's when I found out about money personalities. And so I became certified as a money coach and really realized that women have been disserviced by the financial industry. And I'm sure several of you are in the financial industry, but just hear me out. Don't get defensive. Just hear me out. So when you think about it, the financial services industry, the economy, banking, how we keep our checkbooks, whatever budget you have, it's all very masculine oriented. And by that, what I mean is it's data driven and analysis evaluated and very linear. So if I want to save up for a new car, for example, I'll set aside a certain amount per month until I get to that point where I can buy a car or whatever it is. So you can see that that way of handling money works great for men, and it highlights their strengths because think about it, who created the system in the first place? It was mostly men, right? So they're naturally going to create a system that highlights their strengths, which is linear, goal-driven, and success-oriented from the outside. But the system of success-oriented on the outside, women can flourish in that, but we're not using all of our strengths. We're not using our superpowers. And that's what I coach my clients to see and to start using. So what are the feminine money superpowers? Those include awareness of when you're sabotaging yourself, of when you're holding yourself back, you're not standing fully in your creative power. Listening to your intuition. Everyone knows women have intuition, men do too, but I truly believe women's intuition is a superpower. And then the last thing is accessing abundance. And when you think about it, women are unique, different from men. we create from the inside out. So I always like to say that money contains both masculine and feminine energy. And the key is in the actual word itself. One morning I was on my walk and I was thinking about money and what is it? Why does money touch us so deeply? And I realized the actual word gives us a clue. The first syllable, mon, is very definite. It's M-O-N, it starts and stops. It's it's set in place, just like masculine energy. But the second syllable, E, I mean, just listen to that. It's fluid, it's flowing. And that's the feminine energy. It's unpredictable. You can carry that syllable out, or you could sing it. Mon pretty much starts and stops. So that's just a simple example of the differences between masculine and feminine energy in money. So does this make sense to everyone? Does anyone want to jump in right now before I go on?
But don't forget to unmute yourself if you you want to chime in.
Yeah. Anybody? All right. Well, I don't have control over who talks, so I'll just keep talking. So when I became certified as a money coach and started coaching women, I began to see that these money personalities really have an impact, but you don't realize it until you become aware of it. So what's a money personality? Well, in the system that I was trained in, there's 8 different personalities. So for example, if you are a connector, you're not really concerned as much about money as what it can do for someone else. You're more concerned about the relationship as opposed to earning money. So another personality is an accumulator. This is someone who holds their money tight. They don't want to spend anything because that's where they find their safety and security. So each of these personalities has strengths, gifts, and shadows. And that's where I help coach my clients, is to work through the shadows to see when they start sabotaging themselves and to step into those strengths and gifts. So this whole masculine versus feminine thing, just to give you a little personal background, I lived this because I have a twin brother. And we grew up in the 60s. Our parents were, lived through World War II. We were the youngest. I was the only girl. So I had 3 other brothers. There was a lot of masculine energy in the house. And I noticed as we got to high school, my brother and I, that my dad would take him aside and, explain about this or that in terms of money. And the advice I got was, oh, you'll be fine, honey. Don't worry about it. And that was just the way it was. It wasn't anything against me. That was just the training I received. So thinking back on those times, of course, I learned how to budget and I learned how to make money as a lawyer, et cetera. But I realized there was an absence in the education of money for girls, for women. And that's now become my life's work. So here I am talking to you guys, and I know you're financial advisors and you may be thinking, oh, well, this sounds kind of woo-woo. But Peter, if I may, I'd love to take everyone through a very short 3-step exercise, and you will experience what I'm talking about. So would that be all right?
Oh, I think that's the best.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, great. So if everyone could get a piece of paper and a pen, and we'll do this fairly quickly, but you'll get the gist. And if your curiosity is aroused, please finish it. So as I said, there's 3 steps. The first step is we're going to write a letter to money. But this letter is going to say, and you can just list it out, you don't have to use full sentences. This letter is going to say all of the nasty, terrible, rude things you have ever thought about money. It's kind of a way to get that garbage out of your head and onto paper. So start your letter as, "Dear Money, this is Jan. I've always wanted to tell you that." Ah. And no one's going to see this. No one's going to see this. So I'll give you about 2 minutes to do that. And I wish I had some music, but I'll just mute myself and I'll come back on in just a minute. Does everyone understand the instructions? Yeah, it's pretty simple. Okay.
Will you repeat the intro sentence one more time?
Sure. "Dear Money, this is Deborah." Put your name. "I've always wanted to tell you that."
Thanks.
Go ahead and finish up. Okay, pens down. So this next part is really fun. So go ahead and get settled. I'm going to take you through a very short meditation visualization. You don't have to do anything. You just have to listen. And I just want to be sure everyone can hear my voice. All right. I forgot to tell you that I'm also a certified mindfulness and meditation teacher. So I drop into my meditation voice. So, all right, go ahead, close your eyes, sit back, kind of reposition yourself and take that first long, slow, deep breath in and hold it at the top and then release slowly. And go ahead and take another long, slow, deep breath in. And when you exhale, feel your shoulders go down. And on this next in-breath, as you exhale, feel the weight of your body in your chair. And feel your feet flat on the floor. And your body feels almost like it's a sponge. It's just relaxing and absorbing. And as you listen to the sound of my voice, imagine in your mind that money is right in front of you. And money is an energy, and you can notice how it looks, notice how it feels. Does it have a temperature? Does it have a texture? What does money look like to you as you're sitting here, as you're sinking into your chair? What does money look like to you? And just keep noticing it. In your mind's eye, if you can walk around it and you're just looking, it's something interesting, it's something curious. It's just there. Does it have a smell? What are the physical characteristics of this money energy? And so after you've looked at it and you've noticed it, take a deep breath in and step forward into that energy. Step forward into being money. And you do that at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now you're money. So what does this feel like? What does this seem like? And I'm going to ask you a series of questions and just allow your mind to answer as money. So the first question is, as money, what are you seeing right now? As money, what are you seeing right now? And just allow that answer to come up. And the next question is, as money, what are you feeling right now? As money, what are you feeling right now? And again, it will all come out. No rush, no hurry. It's all in there for you, waiting to explore as money. And the final question is, as money, how would you like to be honored? As money, how would you like to be honored or loved? And just take a moment and notice. And then at the count of 3 in your mind, step back out of money to become yourself. 1, 2, 3. And as you return to yourself, know that what you saw as money, what you felt, what you thought, the way that money wanted to be honored is who you are. So just sit with that for a moment. And go ahead and take a long, slow, deep breath in to anchor that. And as you exhale, go ahead and open your eyes. And what I'd like you to do right now is just write down what you experienced as money. If you could just take some notes just very quickly. What did you experience as I asked you those questions? What were the answers? And just kind of stay in that loving, accepting, allowing space as you write these answers.
Kathryn, would you like anyone to share?
After they've written it down.
Okay, I was thinking we need to do that. I want to hear. Thank you.
So we have one more step, and then I'd like to share because it's an integrated process. So I'll wait till everyone's done. So now there's one more thing I want you to do for me. And you can do it on the same page if you still have room or start over. Now that you've experienced money in this integrated way, write a letter from money to you. So to do that, it's Dear Deborah, this is money. I've always wanted to tell you that, ... Dear Jan, this is money. I've always wanted to tell you that. And just let that come out, let that flow. And then we'll share. Go ahead and finish up. So the first time I did this exercise, it blew my mind because the first letter I wrote to money was so judgmental and harsh and critical and resentful. Any negative emotion was there. And then stepping into and being money, I realized all of that stuff I wrote in my first letter, it was just the stories I was telling myself about money. And I hope you felt that love and that appreciation that the energy of money has for you, because we're really the same energy. I won't go there. It's an amazing process to step back from those limiting beliefs, those ways that you've sabotaged yourself over and over, either unconsciously or consciously, and to actually see them for the first time and realize I did that. No one else did. I'm not a victim. I did that. And because I did that, I can change it. So that's the beauty of getting to know money from this energetic perspective. And the way the portal that I teach my clients is through these types of methods. It's basically bringing mindfulness and meditation to your relationship with money, and then watching as that shifts and changes, and you no longer use money. You see money as the goal. It's just a tool to create the life that you want. So I would love to hear someone share their experience after they went through that 3-step process. Anybody? Deborah.
I'll share. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know what I think is so interesting is this the visualization and the thinking about money and touching it, because if I think about how I engage with money on a daily basis, it's usually taking a credit card out of my wallet. It's not even, and that is just like one more step removed from the actual physical money that card, represents. So this was great in that it made me get in touch with the actual money, and not, the card that allows me the access to the money,
Yeah.
So I thank you for that. And I did see exactly what your experience was like, was that negative relationship with money. And yet, after being money and seeing that, I mean, Peter, you were asking what we're visualizing, and I'm thinking, well, because I'm using the card all the time, the money is in this dark wallet. It's dark and it's alone, and it wants to be appreciated and see the light. And so, I saw it exchanging hands, and could see that, the money is happiest when it's out in the light, when it sees the light of day.
I love
when
that.
it's not like a hidden. And even, I mean, I guess that goes to using the card, the plastic. I mean, money is kind of hidden when we're going around using our credit cards or debit cards all the time.
Wow, that's great. I love that. So you can see how the energy of money, when you look at it as energy, it takes away the judgment and the criticism and the guilt and the shame.
Mm-hmm.
Because energy is energy. And the key piece of this is energy responds to your energy. So if your energy is in the darkness and shame and guilt, how do you think money's going to respond? It's not going to come running towards you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to come to lightness and happiness and appreciation and gratitude and abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Can you feel the difference between those two sets of energies?
Absolutely.
So when you step into the light energies, LITE and LIGHT, money shows up. It's almost like magic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what I love about this is when women get this on an intuitive level, I truly believe that, because this is part of and I'll call it our heart doesn't have words, it has a language. Our soul doesn't have words, it has a language of knowing. And so that's why it's so hard to describe this. But when you know it, you know it. That's the best I can do. So thank you, Deborah. That was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Come on, Jan. You have to unmute. There you go.
There you go. I took, when I was trying to be money, I found myself going back to the barter, that what money stood for, that money was some kind of concrete given amount, but in the way back, barter was a very different kind of exchange, a personal one, and you trade something you grew for something that someone else made, or I don't know. that was where I went when I loved money. And then I found myself going, well, I look at money as stewardship. It's a responsibility, and I need to do the very best I can with it. It's kind of a, and that was with the first question, writing to money. I said, I hate you. I like you. I want to control you, but I don't seem to be able to, and I can get really anxious with you. Peter knows this. and then at the end, I I wanted to tell. I have love hate feelings for you. How I feel that money can keep me safe. There's a safety factor in money that's challenged. I think this is not culturally thought, but I think of the protector, provider kind of masculine
Mhm.
from when I was a kid
Right.
that represented money. And so when a person, and I will speak for myself, when I found myself in a situation where I had to be the masculine and the feminine, that was kind of a real and so yeah.
Well, may I ask you, how did money want to be honored? What was the answer you received?
I think money would have liked me, and I kind of to take what I have and be generous with it.
To trust?
To not get stuck on the acquisition, but to take what comes in and then be I know, generous. So I was kind of going generous stinginess, or got to hold on to it. And some of it definitely was change of season of life.
Yeah.
Because if you're a mom and you have little kids, you have a different kind of responsibility to that. But anyway, let somebody else turn.
You bring up a really good point, though, because thinking of money as energy flows where it's not obstructed, where it's not blocked, right? I mean, think of electricity, think of a stream, a river. If you put a dam, it doesn't go anywhere. But if you can release those attachments, release the fear, then the energy will flow. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is our
is it always good energy?
It is if you say it is.
I
mean,
think
it isn't if you say it isn't. That's the point. You're creating this.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, I'll just throw this in very quickly. One of the things I always have my clients do is start a money journal. And what that is, it's just a little notebook, or do it on your phone, open a thing in your phone. But every time you say something negative about money, you make a note of it in your journal. Every time you see something limiting and you respond to it, make a note in your journal. And don't judge it, don't criticize. This is a fact-finding mission, because many of our beliefs about money were from when we were young children and we didn't realize what we were absorbing. We couldn't not absorb it. But those beliefs are still coming up today, even though it's, however many years it is. So I know that for a fact because my dad grew up in the Depression. So you can imagine, and they had a really hard time. He was picking cotton, and, his whole mantra, his whole life was to work hard. Money never comes easily. You know, there's no magic to it. It's just nose to the grindstone, work, work, work. And I grew up with that. And my mom was the exact opposite. She, her family wasn't touched by the depression like my dad's was, but she always had a great fear around losing money. So I had to work through both of those sets of beliefs to come out with, well, what do I believe about money? And that's what made the difference for me. So a money journal, it can be really helpful because we say things habitually and unconsciously that may not be true for you anymore, may not hold value or, express who you really are, but you're just saying it repeatedly. So take a look at that.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. Anyone else? This is the part I love to do when I take people through this group, because it's so fascinating to hear people's different perspectives. And I'd love to hear somebody talk about what money said to them. Anybody?
I'll go.
Hi, Kara. Did you
Hi.
finish your lunch?
I did. Yes. Thank you for letting me do that. I was hungry. Yeah, I had a similar experience as far as, money was definitely something that I thought of as, when I wrote the letter to it, as greedy and divisive and very negative. But, after you become money and step into that energy and then step back out, it's so abundant. I mean, I really thought of it, like Deborah was talking about it, wanting to come out into the light. That's, it's really wanting to be there and be available. And it's such a scary, it's just scary. And so, but it can be reliable, and there can be comfort in that. So it's just, it was an interesting evolution when the letter from money to me was much more about, like, I'm here for you, yeah, I know you need me, like.
Right. And so look at the contrast between those two sets of beliefs, if I can call it that, and ask yourself, where do you want to live?
Right.
Which one do you want to live in? Because that's how you're going to create your life from this moment on. Right.
Yeah.
And everyone has spent a lifetime accumulating these beliefs, and we're bombarded, with the consumerism and, the politicization of money. I mean, it's just, so that's why I also take my clients through meditations and visualizations, similar to what we did, because there's a space in you that knows the truth, if that makes sense. And I can hopefully take you there, but I can't make you go there.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's the beauty of it. We get to create our own relationship with money, and it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It's right here, right now. That's where the mindfulness comes in. It's who you are being in the present moment. Who are you being in the present moment? Are you being fear? Well, guess what? Money's going to run away no matter how hard you work.
Right.
Or are you being love, for example, or abundance? Yeah. So one of the things that money said to me the first time I did this exercise was that, stop chasing me. As long as you keep chasing me, I'm going to be hard to catch. And that was a big wake-up call for me, because I was repeating what my dad's experience was, being deprived and, having to worry about what was for dinner. Well, I didn't live during the Depression. I'm living now. So why am I adopting a Depression type mindset? Yeah. So use this exercise again. Sit down and really just allow these beliefs to come up, because you'll start noticing the ones that, oh wait, that's not mine, that's my mom's. Why am I following that? So Peter, what do you think about all this?
Oh my gosh, it's so fascinating. because I've been trying to help people with money for 42 years, help them understand concepts they don't. I was thinking of asking you maybe to share an example of a breakthrough or a success that one of your clients has had through this. And I'm really curious because it looks like it may be a lot of work to overcome my blocks, just like money is hard too. And I know that some of this takes time and some of this happens quickly, and really needs to be addressed throughout our lives. But if you could address maybe an example of a breakthrough or success and what allowed that person to have that, and any comments on how long it takes, and is it hard, and so on.
Right. Well, I think you know the answer to that question. It takes as long as it takes. So I have a 8-week program called the Empowered Money Map. And you learn your money personalities, and then we work on your money story. And there's all kinds of exercises. It's 8 weeks. And my first client, her name is Jeannie. This started back before COVID. So, remember BC before COVID? Yeah, I know. Just, and she was just having really issues with money, but the person that she was at the beginning of the Empowered Money Map and the person she was at the end was so different. And she kept telling me, oh my God, you gave me my life back. I kept recreating things, but after I learned these tools and after I learned these mindfulness techniques, now when I go to buy something, I ask myself, does this help me? Is this really what I want? Is this who I am right now? As opposed to, she was a spender. She was a celebrity personality and always loved the bling. So it was the new pair of shoes or the purse or, whatever, makeup, Ulta had a sale on makeup and she had drawers and drawers of makeup, but would always buy more. And she was able to change that underlying belief that she wasn't worthy, she wasn't attractive, to realize that she was perfect just the way she was and didn't need that. So it's almost like going on a diet, but it's a diet of changing the limiting beliefs back to essential worthiness, if that makes sense. And it can happen overnight. It can take years. I just try to show people there's another way to look at this. And that's another reason why I wrote the book, The Money Tree, which I've got here behind me. I wanted to tell a story that allowed people to step into this and feel it for themselves, feel it if it was true for them or not. And so this book, it's a spiritual parable, and it's under the classification on Amazon under magical realism, because the tree talks. So just if you're a pragmatist and you don't like that kind of stuff, fine. But I used the idea of a money tree to explain about this energy and how we're supposed to use it. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, Peter, but, and think of a tree. A tree is grounded, it has roots, it grows up towards the sun. So it needs the light to have photosynthesis and to keep growing. And its arms are outstretched, it's not holding itself in. So the allegory of a money tree is a perfect allegory for us. That's how we're supposed to be with money. If you're grounded in your truth, connected to a higher power, and you're open to receive and give, you're not closed in, you're not clenched. Your hands are open. And that's the other thing about money. It loves to move, it loves to flow. So as it moves into your life and as you move it out, more will come when you stay open to receive.
Kathryn, a metaphor keeps popping into my mind, and it's a simple one. there's a great difference between the map of the territory and being in the territory.
Yes.
Like if we're open and we're observing and we're curious, we're a whole lot more likely to see the threats around us if we're in the jungle than if our eyes are on a map and it's an outdated map and it was somebody else's map and and we're trying to live according to some, inner sense or belief system. It might serve sometimes, but it's sort of hit or miss. What kept coming to me, by the way, you didn't ask for this in particular, but I'm really moved by what came to me doing the exercise. Money was speaking to me as something that was very neutral in and of itself. And it said, there's a lot of Sturm and Drang around me. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of conflict. Just ignore that. Just be with the peaceful idea that this is, I'm a tool. And it reassured me. It said, "Dear Peter, this is money. I've always wanted to tell you that you're so capable and you've been helpful to others." Because I have stories about not being capable around money, believe it or not.
Mhm.
It said, "Don't worry about the emotions and conflicts surrounding me. I want to be close to you."
Mhm.
So that appreciation theme comes back in. I think we're all pulling pieces of this picture in, and I think it's very helpful to hear others and joy to be able to explore my own.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And it's funny you contrasted a map with being, because I deliberately called my system a map because we need the intellectual structure, right? But the being is the more feminine, fluid, intuitive knowing. So it's a combination of both. And just to kind of tie this back up, remember the word money has both masculine and feminine energy. So we've ignored the feminine, and that's why I highlight that. But we still need the masculine. We still need the organization and the structure and the goal setting. But it's who you are being while you're doing that. And I have a whole nother presentation about being human. We always focus on the human part, but we forget about the being part. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, there's a thing that I've seen too, being in my position. I was going to write a book about breakthroughs that people had with money. Never got that project off the ground, but I did interview a number of people. And it seemed like there was a pattern. There was a moment when people woke up or got curious or heard something about a 401k or some concept they hadn't heard about. Whatever it was, they woke up and then they took action. And actually, every example I'm thinking of had to do with women. And it was very powerful, the outcomes. They all succeeded in what they were doing. But there was that moment of waking up, but then there was that moment of action. And I think in both of those moments, there's that aliveness, that beingness, that awareness, and that not letting the distracting and negative beliefs get in the way.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So we only have a few more minutes. Does anyone else want to share? And I so appreciate Karen, Deborah, and Jan, all three of you guys.
Well, thank you. This has been a good experience for me.
Oh, good. Anyone? Okay. Well, just know, trust yourself. That's the best thing I can say. And spend time with money as energy, and your relationship will change.
So everybody on the call, I want to let you know that Kathryn didn't ask me to promote anything. I'm not promoting anything. We're here, of course, to support people and to make a difference in people's lives. She didn't ask me to do that, but she's she has a lot to offer. She has the coaching course, she has the book, The Money Tree. She's all over social media. She's even in my favorite meditation app called Insight Timer that has,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 million people
Oh,
that are subscribed. It's vast.
it's
vast.
amazing.
Yeah, Kathryn, how do people get in touch with you? What are the next steps to keep this conversation alive? You've given us a little bit of hints about it, but are there any things that you'd like to share? I'm putting you up on the soapbox.
Okay, now it's time for the commercial.
There you go.
Commercial break.
This is going to be easier than I thought.
Yeah. My website is empoweredway.com. But if you don't remember that, you can also go to KathrynEricksen.com and it'll take you there. And then, like Peter said, just look for me. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter and blah, blah, blah. Just on and on and on. Instagram is fun. I've learned a lot by doing this. I was not one of the, digital babies, obviously. And I find it fascinating. My daughter grew up with the digital, phone in her hand, and she doesn't know or obviously doesn't remember anything about non-digital. So I'm an analog person who's learned digital and it's fun to play with. So if you need to reach me, I have a calendar setting on my website if you'd like to talk. My email, if you'd like to email me, and I can put it in the chat, is info@KathrynEricksen.com. So I hope that helps. And if you can, buy The Money Tree. It's free on Kindle Unlimited if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber. And let me know what you think. It was really a kind of a out of the unusual. It was unusual for me to write that, but it was one of those downloads I couldn't ignore. And it was fun to write, and it's fun to share. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was such an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, good. Hey.
Thank you.
Oh, the other thing I forgot to tell you, when you get the Money Tree, right at the beginning I created a course that goes along with it that you can get for free if you follow the link. So it takes you through a similar exercise as what we did, but it's more in depth and more instruction, more ways to communicate. So
Thank you. Thanks to everybody for taking a bit of your day and spending time with us. Glad it was interesting for you. Kathryn, you're just, I hadn't seen you perform or be on stage before, and you are a wonderful guest. You're an amazing person who's bringing
thank you.
really incredible gifts to people. And yeah, I know it takes being vulnerable. It takes hard work, but hopefully nothing but hard work.
Yeah, right.
My dad too. Just wonderful. I'd love to spend more time with you just on a personal note, and have you back if folks are interested.
All
Any
right.
last minute questions, guys, gals?
Anybody?
All right. Be good to money. She'll be good to us.
Exactly.
She's lonely.
Bring her into the light.
Yes.
Yes. Thank
Picnics are
you.
good.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.